shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Did those storms wake you up last night? We still have some of those in parts of the viewing area, and the rain isn't over yet today. I'll show you the timeline.
Also, for the first time this morning, drivers will be able to use the new 18-mile stretch of NC 540. What's next for that multi-million-dollar project?
And this is a live look at Clearwater, Florida this morning as people there prepare for Helene. We'll tell you about crews traveling to the state from North Carolina to help. Good morning, everyone. It is 4:30. A lot to tell you about here on this Wednesday morning. Here to get your day started, I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, great to have you along here. Had some storms rip through last night.
Yeah.
I was hearing it, seeing some of the light show there.
I heard the alert on my phone.
No doubt. Yeah, that flood warning. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now, where things stand this morning.
Yeah, you know, nothing wakes me up, and it woke me up last night. And it may be waking you up right now, too, along the northern part of the viewing area. All those counties seeing some very heavy rain right now, as well as some thunder and lightning. So we're seeing that up the I-85 corridor from Henderson on up into Mecklenburg County, Virginia, just east of Roanoke Rapids. Roxborough continues to have a few stray scattered showers and thunderstorms. All this is lifting northward, and we're finished with it in the Triangle area, at least for a little while. We do have a flash flood warning that expires at 6:45 up here from Henderson over to Enfield toward Roanoke Rapids. So if you're in that area, just be especially careful. And a flood advisory, which expires just in a few minutes, about 15 minutes there up in Person County. Here's a look at Futurecast, and you can see the showers and thunderstorms where they are right now as we kick this off. I'm still looking at some of those through 6 o'clock, and even around the Triangle, we could see a little bit more of that pop up, just isolated showers and storms. We may see a little bit of sunshine peeking through from time to time, but we'll also have the potential for a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. And we're going to continue to see a wet pattern, of course, as we get into Thursday and Friday for sure. Take a look at RDU this morning. It is wet out there currently. We're going to bump it down to about a 20 to 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms later today. Tropical storm Helene now has winds at 60 miles per hour. At 74, it's a hurricane and likely to become a hurricane a little bit later today. And then a Category 2 and then potentially Category 3 storm as it makes landfall at 8 p.m. And we're going to talk about just the immense storm surge that the storm is likely to cause coming up. And we'll also take a look at how much rain we may see as it brushes by to our west coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. This morning, drivers in Wake County have a new stretch of 540 that they can use for their commute. Phase 1 of the multi-million-dollar project is finally complete. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from 540. Laura, officials say about 10,000 cars will use this road every day.
Hey, Renee, good morning. I think that we were officially the first drivers to drive through this toll gantry here on 540. Behind me, you can see the lights are on, but officially this will open to drivers at 6 a.m. We're talking about this new 18-mile stretch of roadway. Now, phase 1 of the complete 540 project is 5 years in the making, with construction beginning first in 2019. So state and local leaders came together officially to mark the opening of this new stretch. Phase 1 extends the Triangle Expressway, again, approximately 18 miles from the existing corridor at NC 55 to I-40 and US 70, which is the future I-42. A spokesperson with the NC Turnpike Authority says this will help alleviate congestion in the area.
It's just going to be such a traffic relief and allows so much more maneuverability for people, even if you don't use it every day. If you're late for an appointment or you have to pick up your child at daycare, you have an option now.
So with phase 1 complete, now the focus turns to phase 2, which is a 10-mile stretch from I-40 to I-87 to complete the 540 loop. They're hoping to begin construction on that in 2025. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Garner.
We're learning more about a deadly car crash on NC Highway 86 in Orange County. This is a photo posted by the Orange County Sheriff's Office. This happened just before 5 o'clock near Coleman Loop Road. Troopers say several people were in the car. Only one survived the crash. It's not clear what the extent of the survivors' injuries are, but they're being treated at the hospital. Investigators have not said how many people died or what caused the crash.
Right now, people in Florida are preparing for Helene. The storm could intensify into a major hurricane before it makes landfall, which is expected to happen tomorrow. People in Cancun, Mexico are also getting ready for the storm's arrival. They spent Tuesday boarding up windows in preparation for strong winds and heavy rain. In Florida, a storm surge of up to 15 feet is possible in the Big Bend area, where Helene is currently projected to come ashore. It could be a Cat 3 hurricane when that happens. Evacuations are happening now. More than 18,000 linemen are ready to respond to any storm-related power outages. Crews from North Carolina are heading to Florida to help ahead of Helene's arrival. Utility workers with the City of Rocky Mount Energy Resources Division are heading down to Tallahassee. Once the storm hits, crews will survey areas and help restore power for customers.
The father of a Raleigh mass shooting suspect is due in a Wake County courtroom this morning. Alan Thompson is facing a misdemeanor charge of storing a firearm in a manner accessible to a minor. It's unclear what will happen at his disposition hearing this morning. His son, Austin Thompson, you see him on the screen here, he's facing a long list of charges, including 5 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. Austin was 15 years old at the time of the mass shooting that took place in the Hedingham neighborhood in October of 2022. WRAL will have a crew inside that courtroom and bring you live updates right here and on WRAL.com.
It was a packed house at the final meeting for input on the Wake School student reassignment plan. This was a crowd last night inside Herbert Akins Road Middle School. According to the current draft enrollment plan, a few thousand students in the southwestern corner of Wake County would be affected by the opening of 4 new schools next year. The plan includes 3 new elementary schools and a new high school. School officials got a chance to get feedback directly from parents. The school system will consider whether to revise the draft based on board and public feedback.
Students, they actually get to go to a school that's closer to home, and so they'll have a shorter bus ride. For some of our students, they're going to be able to go to a significantly less crowded school so that they won't have breakfast for lunch. You know, they won't have lunch starting so early in the morning, and carpool lines won't be so excessive, and recesses won't be shortened.
A final draft of the plan will be reviewed on November 12th.
Both presidential campaigns have stops planned in North Carolina today, with former President Donald Trump expected to speak at a campaign event in Mint Hill, just east of Charlotte. Second gentleman Doug Emhoff plans to attend a campaign event in Wilmington. We'll cover all the campaign visits now through Election Day.
Today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will address the UN General Assembly. His speech will come one day after President Joe Biden gave his 4th and final address to the UN Assembly. In the speech, he insisted Russia's invasion of Ukraine has failed. He also called for a negotiated end to the conflict in the Middle East.
Full-scale war is not in anyone's interest. Even if the situation has escalated, a diplomatic solution is still possible.
Biden also addressed his decision to withdraw from the presidential race, saying some things are more important than staying in power. He says the future of democracy hinged on his decision to step away. Coming up this morning on Today, Secretary of State Antony Blinken will be live to talk about the UN General Assembly, foreign conflicts, and U.S. military action.
The CEO of the company that makes the drugs Ozempic and Wegovy is on the hot seat. The answers lawmakers want about drug pricing in the U.S. compared to other countries.
And we'll show you the moment a third house this week collapsed into the ocean on the North Carolina coast.
Plus, give you this live look in Durham from the American Tobacco campus. Another rainy morning in the Triangle. We'll tell you, though, when it'll clear out and when the sunshine will arrive.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:41. We have a lot of rain in our northern counties, still a lot of lightning. That's really coming down heavily. So the northern half of the I-85 and I-95 corridors are going to be wet this morning. We'll zoom in and we get to see rain there just north and east of Roxborough, right around Henderson, big cell moving through, and then some rain, of course, up into Mecklenburg County, Virginia as well. Take a live look at what's happening right here around the Triangle. It's a bit wet here on Fayetteville Street as we take a look from our Jimmy V camera. Temperature 72, but we'll continue to dry out. We do have a continued chance of some showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon, but we're talking just a 20 to 30%, so it's not likely to be widespread. It's probably going to be pretty wet as you're walking the dog this morning, and as you're walking the dog this evening, it should be a little drier and warmer, 83.
Your time is 4:42 this morning here in the WRAL Life Center. Good morning. I'm Chris Lovingood. I was talking with meteorologist Chris Michaels about what cameras I should show you regarding Helene. He said, check Cancun. So that's what we did. This is one resort video you can see right here on your screen. You see how the palm trees are just, the fronds are blowing right there. That's how powerful the winds are at this particular resort. And you can kind of see the camera sort of focusing and then kind of getting blurry. That's because rain keeps pelting the lens there. Let me show you a different camera here. Also, this is a different resort, but you'll still see the palm trees there, still kind of moving. A little rain still there on the lens there. And I was just looking at the WRAL Severe Weather Center graphic to show you where this is in terms of Helene, where it's slated to be around 3, as you can see the time going through at about 4ish this morning. So that's what we're looking at. But if you look where it is near southern Florida, that's the next camera I'm going to be looking for to see what effects Key West might be seeing, possibly even Miami.
Chris, thanks. A trash truck driver has minor injuries after his truck skidded off a road and overturned in Johnson County. This happened around 7 p.m. on Medland Road near Archer Lodge. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was there shortly after the crash. The driver says he was trying to avoid traffic during heavy rain when the right front tire went off the pavement. The truck went down a steep hill, tipped over, and dumped garbage into a field. The driver was ticketed for a lane control violation.
A dangerous chemical leak near Cincinnati, Ohio, has prompted evacuation orders for people who live in that area. It's affecting people living in Whitewater Township. Schools in that area will be closed today. Emergency management officials say the leak is not from a train derailment, but a train car that has an open valve and it's releasing gas. Crews are working currently to contain that vapor by cooling down the rail car and assessing air quality around it. They say if they can't cool the rail car properly, it could explode.
A congressional investigation is trying to get answers about why popular diabetes and weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wegovy cost more here than in other countries. Lawmakers grilled Novo Nordisk CEO Lars Jorgensen during a hearing yesterday. Senators, including Bernie Sanders, pointed out how much less the drugs cost in countries such as Germany and Denmark. Jorgensen argued the pricing system in the U.S. is mostly to blame. Sanders said 3 of the largest companies that handle prescription drug benefits are willing to expand access if Novo Nordisk lowers its prices.
New evidence in the election subversion case against former President Donald Trump could soon be released. Now, a federal judge is allowing special counsel Jack Smith to file hundreds of pages of legal arguments and evidence. It may include what prosecutors know about Trump's interactions with former Vice President Mike Pence around the time of January 6th. The filing could provide the biggest public look into the case before the 2024 election. A briefing is due tomorrow. It'll be filed under seal, but the judge will have the ability to release a version to the public.
A submersible expert says the Titan submersible was always expected to fail at some point. Carl Stanley of the Rotan Institute of Deep Sea Exploration testified about the June 2023 implosion. He leveled some harsh accusations at the company's founder, Stockton Rush.
There was nothing unexpected about this. This was expected by everybody that had access to a little bit of information. And I think that if it wasn't an accident, it then has to be some degree of crime.
5 people were killed during the implosion last year. Testimony will continue through the week.
Another home has been pulled down by the Atlantic Ocean in Rodanthe. It was slated to be torn down. It becomes now the 3rd home that has washed away recently by that surf, as you see it there.
It's going!
And that is the moment that it gave way to the tide yesterday afternoon. These houses began to fall Friday when high surf and pounding waves caused 2 of the homes nearby there to collapse within 24 hours of one another. The owner of this 3rd home had hired a contractor to remove it. Rough surf delayed the progress. The collapse marks the 5th home overall swallowed by the ocean this year. Oceanfront homes on the Outer Banks have been at risk from collapsing for years because of erosion there.
Oh, that's hard to see.
Yeah.
We're getting a look at the progress of a new park venue in Raleigh. Dix Park Sunflowers have long been a summertime family favorite. It inspired area artists, creating 2 giant galvanized steel sunflowers perched on 2 transmission poles by Duke Energy crews. You can see the work in progress on Lake Wheeler Road. The Dix Park Conservancy has raised almost $73 million to help build the nearby Gibson Play Plaza Park, which leaders say will be a one-of-a-kind experience. That is scheduled to open next spring.
4:47 the time right now, talking about Dix Park. There's just a bunch of puddles around the park lately. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center don't know when those are going to go away.
It may be a while, yeah, because we're going to have, of course, some drying today, but also the potential for an isolated shower or thunderstorm. The same thing Thursday. We're going to see some heavier rain on Friday. We may begin to dry out a little bit toward the end of the weekend. We'll talk more about that in just a little while. But first off, we're definitely looking at some heavy rain that continues in our northern counties. We had a lot of rain and thunderstorms overnight. We're still seeing that in Henderson right now. And over here in the far eastern side of Northampton County, we're seeing some of that still lingering across parts of Person County, where there is still a flood advisory in effect. We may continue to see a little bit more of that rain. Flash flood warning from Henderson toward Roanoke Rapids down toward Enfield. So in this area, north and east of the triangle, you just want to be especially careful. Flash flood warning means that there is likely to be water on the road in places. If you run into that water on the road, find a different way to go, turn around and go back the way you came. Also a flood advisory, that means that there could be some flooding happening. It's more likely that it's happening there a little bit farther to the east around Henderson. But for Person County, we still have a flood advisory that's in effect until 6:45. Here's a look at Roxborough, and you can see it's definitely wet here. That rain's still falling, so just be careful traveling around our northern counties this morning. We take a look at Futurecast, and you can see it does lift northward by 6 a.m. A lot of that is out of here, but there could be just a few isolated showers and thunderstorms between now and lunchtime across the rest of the viewing area, and then on and off through the afternoon. There may be a few peaks of sunshine. I saw a couple of holes in the clouds when I walked through, but we're just going to stay in this unsettled pattern. And here's why. We have a cold front that's back to the west that continues to push toward us, and we're seeing a lot of activity out ahead of that front, and so that will be ongoing today. 40% chance this afternoon, 30 tomorrow, and then of course 100 on Friday as we see the impacts of Helene that start to move through. Can't rule out a stray shower or thunderstorm Saturday or Sunday, but the chances are much lower. We're waiting on that 5 o'clock advisory. Has not quite come in yet. Any minute now. Winds at 60, so it could be the 5 a.m. advisory or even the 11 a.m. advisory where the storm becomes a hurricane. It moves up past the Yucatan Peninsula as a Cat 1 today, Cat 2 by tomorrow morning, and then by tomorrow evening, a Category 3 as it makes landfall here. Could see up to 15 feet of storm surge there in the Big Bend area. And then, of course, it will have the potential for some rain and some wind during the day on Friday. It's looking like it may be a little less. Yesterday, it looked like maybe 2 to 4. Today, it's looking more like 1 to 2 inches, so that's definitely good news. We have the potential for some gusty winds, maybe 30 to 40 miles per hour, 1 to 3 inches of rain and some isolated tornadoes during the day on Friday. So what is going to happen with the Bluegrass Festival? They're still looking at what may happen, but Saturday is definitely looking much drier. We'll see partly cloudy skies and a high of 85 degrees. Check out our 7-day forecast. Again, starting to dry out a little bit for Saturday and Sunday. Couldn't rule out an isolated shower or thunderstorm. Over the weekend, we're going to talk more about some of the other events across our area coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. The Carolina Hurricanes hit the ice for their first preseason game. The reason why last night's game was a special one for the Brendamore family.
Also, a cat in Ohio makes an interesting and dangerous discovery in a basement. The reason a bomb squad was called to the home.
Welcome back. It is 4:54 as we take a live look at Clinton, and looks a little foggy, low cloud cover there as the rain starts clearing away. You're watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL News app. A curious cat in Dayton, Ohio made a surprising discovery in its owner's basement, a hand grenade. The cat's owners were doing renovations in the basement when the cat started knocking around an odd item. Well, it turned out to be a grenade. Police sent a bomb squad who took the grenade to set it off in a controlled environment. The homeowners say they aren't sure how the grenade got into the basement.
Start of the NHL season is almost here. The Carolina Hurricanes are one step closer to being ready for that. The Canes won their first preseason game last night against the Tampa Bay Lightning. 2-1 was the final. They host the Florida Panthers in more preseason action at the Lenovo Center on Friday.
The Hurricanes shared this special father-son moment on social media. That's Canes head coach Rod Brind'Amour and his son Skylar. Last night was Skylar's first NHL game with his dad coaching him. The Canes signed him to a professional tryout deal after he played 54 games last season in the AHL with the Charlotte Checkers. Oh, what an awesome moment of a good season. Covering Wake County now, work will continue today to remove a tree estimated to be 100 years old. This willow oak is in the downtown Cary Park, and staff there say the tree is at the end of its mature life stage. They've decided to remove the tree for safety reasons. Pedestrian traffic will be affected as crews take down the tree. There may be sporadic lane closures on Park Street.
A new statue has been revealed at the U.S. Capitol. A bronze statue of country musician Johnny Cash now represents his home state of Arkansas in the Emancipation Hall. It's an 8-foot-tall piece that was commissioned by the National Statuary Hall Steering Committee. Now, that's statuary, I should say, that steering committee. It joins the statue of civil rights icon Daisy Gatson Bates, which was unveiled in May.
This morning, we're keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Helene as it makes its way toward the Gulf Coast.